Good morning, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Thursday morning, November 10th. We are looking at my charts today because I think this is very important to go over. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Again, it's never as simple as I try to make it seem, but I think it's important to see, to break it down this way, to show you what I think is going to occur possibly for the rest of the year, and more importantly, why. Okay, so we're going to start with the weekly, then go to the daily. So here you go in the weekly. It is a 3-week balance, including this week. Okay? Here's your yearly low. Here's our succession of lower highs on the weekly. And that's going to be important when we get to the daily. So I think one of two things will occur probably by today, if not by, say, tomorrow's close, but most likely by today's close to get a pretty good understanding of what's going to happen. We're either going to come out of this 3-week balance to the upside. If we do that, this is our latest lower high right here, this 390.39 level in SPY, last week's high in ES, okay? We're either going to come out of that and out of this 3-week balance to the upside and break that succession of lower highs, which you'll see on the daily, and then I think the odds of the lows being in are pretty good. Now, I'll never put odds at 90%. That's just pure cockiness. And I won't put them at 60% because that's not really great odds. I'll put them at 75%. And again, I'm going to show you why on the daily I'm saying this. So if we take out this weekly balance to the upside, I think there's 75% chance of lows of the year in. If we take out this 3-week balance to the downside, then I think, again, by 75% chance, we'll make lower lows. All right? Now, that's the bigger picture on the weekly. Now let's go over to the daily to show you why I'm saying that. Okay? So here's our daily for the entire year. We've had a succession of lower highs from our all-time high here to here to here to here, right? Until finally only one time we broke that all year, and that was from late June through early August. It was the only time we had all 3 time frames up on the year, monthly, weekly, daily, for 5 days. But it didn't last long. But it did last for about 7 weeks or so. So what's happened since then? Well, we start a new succession of lower highs. Here, here, and now here. If we come out of this balance, so this is the same weekly balance you just looked at. If we come out of this balance above this daily high, we break that succession of lower highs, and with only 7 weeks to go in the trading year, I would think that's why I'm giving it a 75% odds of the low of the year being in. On the flip side, if we come out of this balance here to the downside, which now is last week's low, then I think the odds of making a new low on the year are good by probably about 75%. So why am I saying that? Well, for 2 reasons. The reason I think the low would be in is I don't think there'd be enough time for this market to just roll over again and play dead if we take out this succession of lower highs. If we take it out from the downside, though, what have we done each time we've had lower highs? We've made a lower low on the year, most times. Here's the all-time high, low on the year. Tried to go up here. Well, actually, you did it here first, then low of the year. Now, we did take that one out, but I didn't count that one. So here's your new low high of the year. Made new lows on the year. Didn't even come up close to the low high, new lows on the year. Then we broke that string for the 7 weeks. And since then, what did we do? Here's a lower high, new low on the year. Okay? So again, will that cycle continue? Now, a reason we say this, and I always give you both sides. We don't say sell will come or we're going to the moon. Traders will do what's worked until it doesn't work anymore. Well, what's worked all year? We're selling rallies and having lower highs and lower lows. That's number one. And then the second thing we like to say is what's been played before affects what happens next. Well, we've seen what's been played before all year. So those are the reasons I'm giving you for why I think probably by today's close, or certainly by maybe tomorrow's close, we'll have an idea. Now, we have to come out of that balance. So you know what? Let me take that back. If we stay in this balance on the weekly through, say, tomorrow night, then nothing's been resolved yet. It has to come out of this balance, and I would like to see acceptance out of it. So I'll take that back. I'm not going to say we'll know by today's close or tomorrow's close. We'll know when we come out of this balance. Now, is it possible to stay in this balance for the next couple of weeks? Sure it is. I mean, round it out, 393. So round it out to 391, and the low is 369. It's a $22 balance. It's fairly large. That's a fairly large balance for 3 weeks. So we have to come out of this balance, okay, for those odds to come into play for the, either the low of the year being in or not being in. Now, let's go to the profile to show us real quickly what's going to happen inside of that. Now, I know this is going to be a lot smaller, but I just want you to get an idea what's happening here. So here is that balance we're talking about. Okay? Here's last week's low, the 21st. And here's that high we're talking about. So anything that's going to occur for the most part inside of this is what? Noise. Right? Balance rules will apply. You get to the bottom of a balance, right? Real quick. We get close to a balance, low or high. You don't get through it, you rotate back up. You slightly stretch a balance low or high, don't get much, come back in and go back up, or you go through a balance low or high and don't look back. I'm kind of looking for the don't look back scenario as we get later in the year. But that doesn't mean the first time, we'll have to see, but balance rules will apply. So inside of here, it's a $22 balance, but there'll be tremendous noise inside of that. That does not mean there won't be trading opportunities. Of course there will. We had an 18-wide overnight POC we never got yesterday. We have a trend day down and a price probe from yesterday. We're 20-something wide today. Now, what's going to happen once this CPI comes out in the next 20 minutes or 10 minutes by the time this video is posted? No idea. If we gap lower, but don't take out the balance low, again, nothing's changed. And balance rules will apply, and also gap rules. But it's all going to be inside of that balance. So again, you're going to have multiple opportunities inside of this balance, but you will not know the direction of the market for the remainder of the year until we come out of this balance, I believe. So again, just quickly, because I know this video went longer than I would have liked, if we open inside of the upper distribution after the news comes out, well, then you can take a long against C's low, which is the bottom of the upper distribution, and see if it holds, although you will be in balance in value. If you gap higher, you can take a long against the gap. Use the gap fill as your out. So that's 2 long plays. As far as 2 short plays, if you open below, if we gap lower, now again, it depends on the size of the gap. If the gap becomes $2, $3, $4, I'm not looking for a short right away. The gap would have to probably be taken back a bit, and then I would certainly look for shorts. If we gap anywhere near the balance low, I'm certainly not looking for a short that time. In fact, I might look for a long the first time against the gap. I'm sorry, against the balance low. So if the gap isn't that bad, I'll take the short, use the day's low as my out, and then you can continue to reshort it against the price probe and then against the single prints. If we open inside between the 2 distributions, again, you can take a short against C's low, out if accepted above. Again, these are just early plays on what to look for the intraday. But I really think the big picture is to look for what we just talked about on the charts and the reasons why. Good luck trading today. Have a great day, and we'll recap at 4 p.m.